I'm going to go to the dark side because I'm eating my dinner here.
Sounds good. I'll start things up here in a moment or two.
And Cedric and Tom, if you guys will mute when Drone gets started. Drone, every time I hear your name, I think of a show that my wife and I got hooked on, Fauda. I don't know if you saw that.
How do you spell that?
I think it was Fauda, F-A-U-D-A. It means chaos, apparently, and it was on Netflix, I think. It was like a 3-season series. It was pretty wild.
Had not heard that, but that Israeli, so that would make sense. It's
Yeah,
Ukrainian.
it deals with Israeli and Palestinian intelligence agents, and it's fictional, but it was a pretty good series.
Oh, funny. Yeah, oftentimes I hear Jerome or John or things like that.
And one of the guys is named Doron in that series.
Oh,
So.
okay. Yeah, I've only met. I don't think I've ever met another Daron. All right,
And I assume I'm pronouncing Fauda correctly. I don't know if that's the spelling.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that.
Okay, it's 1800 if you want to take it away.
Perfect. Okay. Hi there. My name is Daron. My call sign is K1DBC. This is not a net. You don't have to be a ham radio operator, nor will there be any check-ins. Everyone is welcome. This is just a general Q&A. We are on behalf of the Denver Radio Club here. This is called the Elmer Session. It takes place now until 6:45, 18:45, so another 45 minutes. General Q&A, show and tell. If you have any projects for ham radio, electronics, this would be a good opportunity. First, I want to actually go over just the Google Hangout, just to cover the audio. Let's see here. If I can bring up the right one here. Okay. If you can hear me, hopefully this shouldn't be an issue. Well, just make sure you mute your microphone just so we don't have any background noise. And you can do that by hitting this button here. And then you won't be heard. And if you have any questions, feel free to unmute. Definitely don't have to speak in it or anything. You can put things in chat if you want as well. And I guess if you're hearing me, again, you may not be having this issue, but if you are having any audio issues ever, if you go to the 3 dots here and then go to settings, you'll have this audio tab here, and you can pick which headset or microphone you want to use. And if you click test, you should hear some noise coming through your headset, and then when you're speaking, you should see this moving here. So if you ever have any issues there, that's how we can troubleshoot that. With that, though, I'll throw it out. Does anyone have anything? There's plenty of things been going on in the last few weeks.
Jerome, while you're in there, would you go into the settings and show them how it works with the different layouts, spotlight, and what have you?
So if you go to change those 3 dots again and then change layout, an easy way to see the content that I'm presenting is the spotlight option here. So if it's selected on anything else, you might be seeing a few other things here, tiled, etc., sidebar. But if you do sidebar or spotlight, that gives you a full screen of the window that I'm sharing too. And you can kind of adjust, or you can't change the tile here. So that's another thing to be on the lookout as well, because I am sharing things, and if you don't have that, it just will be in a small screen. Okay. I guess, while we're here on the home page, we've been discussing this proposed $50 fine by the FCC. There's links here that you can go to that kind of talks about it and what's going on. They opened for comment, I think, at the beginning of the month, the 3rd of September, so you have 30 days after that. You can view the comments online here, and you can kind of see what people are saying and kind of read through it, what's going on. Again, you can submit a comment. There's a link from the WCRTX website here. Click here to file a comment, and then if you go to express comments here, you'll put in I think it's 270 or 20-270. And then you can put in your information. I'm not sure how valid this needs to be, but then you can put in a comment here, and or you'll click on the express comment if it doesn't go to that. That's the easier way. I think by default it'll go to standard filing, and you'll have to do a lot more. You could do either way, but express is a lot easier. So plenty of time still left on that. Plenty to read up on that. So wonder if anybody has anything on that they want to bring up. Or anything else. That was just one thing that's been a hot topic as well. Check the chat here. Nothing yet.
Well, I've got a question for all of you folks. I need a new handheld or mobile, and I'm not sure which, but I think the handheld would be better. Any suggestions?
Which I'm guessing you're probably just dual band 70 centimeters, 2 meters.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
You're going to want to use Wires X or C4FM, Tom?
I would like to, yes, eventually.
And that points to Yaesu.
I'm not sure exactly which is the most frequently used here.
Well, I think by far, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but it's just kind of the way of the tides, is DMR Brandmeister. At least seems to be quite heavily used here.
Comment.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the Yaesu FT2. I've got the Delta, but they've got a newer version there that's got a color screen. But you might take a look at the Yaesu FT2. And if anybody can quickly come up and tell us what the latest Yaesu handheld is, but you might consider that.
Okay.
Back to you, Jerome.
Yeah, so there's an option there for you. This is the Yaesu FT2. I'm just trying to look up here the popularity of some of the different modes, at least the repeaters that we have. Yeah, so there's 52 DMR, at least on repeaterbook.com, 7 Wires X, 17 D-Star. So you can kind of see there, at least is PRRF, what there is, but these are all kind of interlinked though too. So
yeah.
And I'm looking at the FT2DR on Yaesu's website. It's a pretty impressive little unit.
Yep, pretty nice unit looking here. Looks like it has packet TNC built in, so that's a pretty nice functionality too of an HT. I know on the Learning Net somebody was recently talking about trying to do packet radio via HT.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good question. Anyone any other suggestions on just kind of Yaesu or Wires X or kind of any HTs somebody might want to look out for?
It's like HRO has the FT2DR on sale for only $369.95.
Only $369, huh?
Yeah, as we know, this stuff can get a little pricey here. Yeah, it was the one that I was looking up briefly was the Unitone D878. This would be on the DMR Brandmeister side of things. A little bit less expensive, different, I think fairly same feature set. but DMR instead of, but it doesn't have TNC capabilities built in though.
Now, is that Yaesu usable on the Brandmeister?
Through hotspots or through many different options that we have here. One option is like the Colorado Digital multi-protocol. You can come in through different modes, and I don't know if I think you can probably call up different talk groups. I don't know, but if you have a DMR hotspot, yeah, one of these little things here, you would use Wi-Fi to enable your Yaesu to get onto different modes. That would be another option as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it operates analog or C4 FM. It doesn't. It's not a digital radio. I don't know, are there any out there that combine DMR with analog? I guess.
Well, we travel quite a bit, and I needed something that I could utilize when we're out away from cell service and that kind of thing. And
sorry, bear with me here for just a moment. Please feel free, anybody to join in. If anybody has any information on that, just HT or mobile rig, that would be some good options there. If anybody has any input, go ahead.
Comment.
Go ahead.
Yeah, when you decide on your radio and buy your radio, make sure you get the RT Systems software if you're going to be traveling, and it will give you the options of loading the repeaters for the route and your destination prior to leaving home. So I highly recommend the RT Systems software, and it also makes it a lot easier to program your radio initially. Over to you, Daron.
Yep, RT Systems, good call there, at least on the software side of things.
Larry in the chat recommended the Yaesu FT3DR.
I think that's the newer one, isn't it?
Yeah, they had just recently announced that within the last, not too long ago, I don't think, half a year or so.
That'd be the way to go then, get the newest one available.
And the HRO discount price is only $359.95.
That's a bargain. For what? That's a bargain for everything it does for you. I mean, quit complaining about the price.
$1 a function.
So yeah, there's definitely some options there. Yeah, and browsing HRO and if you go to eham.net, they have classifieds on there. People are listing things on there all the time, or definitely on W0TX we have the trading post. So with all the ham fests, hopefully there's a lot of equipment online potentially as well too.
And Tom, Larry also mentions in the chat the Yaesu s.t.e.m 7250DR dual band 50 watt mobile is $219.95.
which one was that again? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
It's the s.t.e.m Frank Tom Mary 7250DR. Or Foxtrot Tom Thomas Mike. Foxtrot Tango Mike, I guess.
I was just going to mention, if you're going to be in an area where there's no cell coverage, then a mobile radio in a vehicle might get you more reach, and that 7250 also does fusion, so that would have some digital capability. So anyway, that was my thought, is you can spend a little bit less money on the radio, get more wattage, and you'd have money left over to get a decent antenna and mount to put on the vehicle.
I kind of like that idea, but most of the time I'm in the vehicle.
Larry, will that one act as a crossband repeater?
I don't know. Let me look here real quick.
All right. Yeah. Or go ahead, Larry. Sorry.
I was going to say, I do not think that does crossband repeat. I'll have to look and see if they what might have that.
I know the Anytone D578UV, I think, has crossband repeats. And it has 220 megahertz as well. So that's a neat little option there. And the crossband repeat, for anybody that doesn't know, it's very similar to our repeaters. Just like you come in on 145.490, and it also, you can come in at 448.625. It repeats between those two frequencies. 490, similarly, this radio, or any radio with this crossband repeat function, can repeat back, can crossband between either probably VHF and UHF. So what you could do is you can have this set up in your vehicle, for example, and then you can take a hike, you can go on a walk, and you can be a few miles out, and as long as you have line of sight to your vehicle, you can talk on a frequency that won't get out necessarily to the city, but it will get to your vehicle, and then this can repeat back on a frequency that can get back out to the city, etc. So that's kind of an example of that.
So in essence, you're turning your mobile unit into a short range repeater.
Somewhat, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, not totally, but
there's probably other case uses for it. I haven't tried that, and that's one of the ones that I've heard of, and I'm sure there's probably other use cases for it. So let's see what else here. So yeah, we've been talking about HTs and mobile stations. It's good stuff. It's nice to get back into buying things and look at things. So again, my name is Daron. My call sign is K1DBC. This is not a net. You don't have to check in. Everyone is welcome to join in, ask any questions. This is a general Q&A for ham radio, electronics, engineering. If you have any questions, anything you want to bring up, this would be a good time. And I guess as new people are joining, we'll just go over real quick, I guess, the audio and the video real quick. Just make sure you mute yourself, just in case if you don't have a question and we just don't hear any background noise. You just come down here and push that microphone. You don't have to have video if you don't want to. And then I'm sharing full screen. I'm sharing my screen, excuse me. So if you go to the three dots here and change layout, you can select the spotlight and you'll see it fully. Otherwise, we'll see just other things. But if you want to see what I'm sharing, you can do that as well. A few things here I can go over. This site that I hadn't bookmarked until recently for some reason, but This is put on 5280 Fire, is started by Eric Hurst, and he's the PIO for South Metro Fire. And if you don't know, South Metro Fire Rescue has a really cool PIO YouTube page where they put all their content, and they kind of really stay up to date on a lot of fire rescue and things here that the South Metro takes care of. So that's one option there, or one thing to do is look at their YouTube for sure. And then this other site that I found recently, it's 5280fire.com, is they're taking some really nice captures of some of the incidences that are occurring here, unfortunately, recently. Some good, some bad. So that was one thing that I had just recently found.
And I might just decode PIO for those that don't know. It's Public Information Officer for an agency.
Yep. Sorry, Public Information Officer. The agencies, some agencies do. I mean, they all have Public Information Officers, and as much as they do, kind of depends. I think Arapahoe County has a PIO. Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office at least has the PIO is through the Sheriff's Office themselves. So if you do any work with Aries, this will Sheriff's Office you'll get definitely acquainted with. So just something I had found recently again.
And 5280, along with most of the agencies, tweet pretty regularly now. So if you are up on Twitter, you can get notifications when those things are available.
Absolutely, yeah. They definitely, their agencies are using Twitter and social media nowadays a lot more to let the public know what's going on, because the dissemination of information appears to be a lot quicker that way. All right, what else here? Anyone else?
Quick question.
Please.
First of all, you guys do a great job, Drone. I enjoy you on the Wednesday night net. This question is a little esoteric, but I'm trying to find a 200-watt antenna tuner that might go from like 80 all the way to 6 meters. I'm finding a lot of 100-watt, and I'm finding a lot of 80 to 10, but very few that go up to 6. And then trying to find something in the 200-watt range has been a little difficult. Anything come to mind? Anything you guys have seen that you liked?
On manual or automatic?
Probably prefer automatic if they've got it. If manual's all we have, then I guess that would work.
I know a popular manual one is the MFJ923. That's 200 watts, but yeah, that is manual tuning there. Let's see here.
Will that do 6 meters, Not that I'm doing 6 meters lately, but I'm hoping someday.
Let's see, 6 meters would be
50 megahertz.
50 megahertz. It doesn't immediately look like it. Yeah, anyone else out there though on 200 watts?
Yeah, I'm looking at the LDG models on
yeah.
DX Engineering. That would be the most likely. If I don't know if they make any that go to 6, but
yeah, LDG
160 to 6, 250 watts LDG electronics, AT200 Pro 2, only $259.99.
Hey guys, let me throw something in. And my name is Randy, K0TNG. It's actually the first time I've come to a club meeting in the last 2 years, practically. So,
please.
I've got a MFJ 962D, which is a 600-watt version. It's manual. If anybody, if he's interested, I honestly never used it. I got it used from somebody else. So, whoever it is.
Put your contact info in the chat, and he might.
All right, I'll do that.
But it looks like LDG is probably your best bet. They have a pretty good reputation, as far as I know.
Yeah, it looks like LDG definitely does a lot of the auto tuners.
Yeah, I see the AT200 Pro 2. Yeah, it looks like that would do it. Good. I didn't see that one earlier. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And there's, I mean, if you are good at soldering and whatnot, let's see, there's some automatic tuners that are hooked up to the internet. Let me see if I can find that one. This, I think, was the project. Yeah, the VK4 hat tuner. So this would be a pretty interesting project to try to do, but I don't know if it's kit form or you have to. I'm not too sure, but it looks like it's using a pretty standard micro there. But yeah, if you ever are into tinkering and you're pretty good, there's always options for building your own.
K0TNG, Randy, thank you for posting that information. I may give you a call about that. I'll check out that unit online. So thank you for posting.
Yeah, of course. All right, anyone else? Anyone else have any other questions? Anything we talked about so far about HTs, mobiles, antenna tuners, anything else? All right, some news that was a little bit surpassed by the FCC things. There's new equipment on board the ISS, a duplex or a crossband repeater, I think, is what they were saying. Let's see here. Consists of a modified Kenwood D710GA transceiver, and Aris developed a multi-voltage supply. Let's see here, 25 watts. Yeah, K0LWC just has some pretty good little write-up and some pretty good photos here. He was trying out the repeater there. If you're not aware, K0LWC, he used to be here in Colorado. I think he's moved out east, but another interesting YouTuber as well. All right, this is Daron, K1DBC. This is the Elmer Session. We have another 20 minutes or so here. I wonder if anybody has any comments, questions, or anything else you'd like to bring up. Just looking at photos here of the CZ Lightning Complex fire. A lot of wildfires going on right now. Just a repeater station.
One thing I'll mention, Daron, I've always been a fan of the ISS, International Space Station. When my grandson was very young, he and I would get up and go watch it pass over, and I'd take an HT and you could hear the telemetry come up and then fade away. It was pretty fun. Lots of memories. I put a link in the chat for where people can sign up if they want to get text alerts of when passes will occur at their location. And it's quite visible. You can see it at times, and it's kind of fun to watch if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they make several passes every day, so there's a lot of opportunity out there. One that Fred always touts about is heavensabove.com. Pretty good one as well. Ooh, I wasn't seeing that link that you had posted there.
Oh, I guess I gotta send it. Now you'll see it.
There we go.
Helps when you transmit.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, the sky is not the limit for RF. There is so much more out there.
Has anybody bounced any signals off of Starlink satellites yet?
Anyone in the group does much satellite work at all? There's plenty of opportunity, I'd imagine, out there. Anybody have anything on that? So it's just looking for something here. I was going to mention the GNU radio conference. If you have any interest in software-defined radio or anything like that, they've been putting things on their YouTube page over the last. I think it was the 11th and 12th. There was their conference. No, it's 14th to the 20th. But it's all online. So if you, and we were just talking about SETI. So if you have any interest in searching for extraterrestrials via amateur radio or RF, citizen science, there's a lot of cool things out there.
Are they still asking for people to share their CPU time? I used to participate in that years ago.
Yeah, what was that called?
It was SETI that you would allow it to use your
That's
CPU
right.
and off times.
SETI at home. No longer distributing tasks. Okay. Yeah, I guess they have enough horsepower as it is, potentially.
So I had myself muted. I was mentioning that there's a TV program, I think it's on Netflix, called Away. And these folks are on Mars and having real-time conversations, video conversations between the Earth and Mars using a technology that does not exist, may never.
Yeah.
It takes something like 7 minutes for a signal.
Okay, yeah. 7 minutes. Yeah, that would not be to Mars. You said, right?
Right.
Yeah. What is the? Let's see. It's probably a better way. Propagation 2 to 4 seconds. So a lot quicker there. Another conference that did happen the 11th to 12th is the ARL Tapper Digital Conference. A lot more SDR propeller head talks, quite a lot going on there. Talk given by Becky. Oh no, I think Becky gave the talk at the other. Plenty of things here too. So they as well have been putting things up on their YouTube page, I believe.
I've got a question, please.
Please go ahead.
This is Tom King, KG5FS. Relatively newcomer to DMR. What is the state of DMR roaming these days?
Well, I know on the Anytone there's a roaming function, but it's kind of manual in how you have to set it up. So there's these roaming channels, and these are kind of Chinese-made radios, and so their descriptions of how things work are a little bit different. I haven't used it myself, but apparently there is some. It's not GPS based, so I don't know if it's somehow signal based, but it's not GPS based, at least on the Anytone. So somehow it can maybe detect a signal towards a repeater, but for the Anytone at least, that's how that works. I think there might be some other radios that have GPS roaming functionalities. Anybody have any input on that?
I just put a link in. I'm not sure how up to date this information is, but in one ATP has some information there about DMR roaming.
Yeah, I hope I happened across that same article about a week ago, and I wasn't sure if there was some better information about what models actually supported or not. I ended up with the Alinco DMR Handy Talkie, and while it's a good radio, it doesn't show anything or say anything about supporting roaming.
Bill Rinker is our resident DMR guru, and I don't see him on yet, but if anybody would likely know, Bill would.
Okay. Well, thank you.
W6OAV.
Can I pipe in?
Please.
On DMR roaming, originally it was just Motorola that did it, and then I think Hytera did it, and Hytera is a high-end brand of radio, and then I think there was some TTY ones, the later models that did, but the quality of the models sometimes were suspect. They had a lot of failures on them. And Daron's right. The Anytones, the newer ones, do roaming, and you have to, when you program it, you have to program what channels you want it to roam on, and it is signal based. So if you're in an area where 2 or more channels could be received, it'll test and figure out which one's the stronger one and use that one to connect to. So, and I do know people that use roaming, especially with their Motorola radios, when they travel up and down the Front Range, and they say it works very well when it's programmed properly. The key is to program it.
Yeah, it sounds like I've gotten the wrong radio if I want to try that then.
How difficult is the programming?
If you've never done a DMR radio and you don't understand how the database works, it can be very difficult. The easiest way to do it is to, if you're in the Rocky Mountain region, you can go to rmham.org and download a code plug, it's called, which you program your radio with. And there are many code plugs for many different radios. And then that is a good way to start. And they probably have some roaming already built up in it. And so you can use that as a guide. So once you've got your radio program and you have the software to program it, you can play with the programming, make a copy of it and mess around with it and then try it. And so after a little bit of time, you'll figure it out. Some of the manufacturers have an excellent information on how their programming works, and others less so. From now and again, there are people who will give talks on how to program the code plugs. What is it? K0NGA is a real good expert. He builds a lot of the code plugs for Rocky Mountain Ham, and he's a real good resource, and he'd probably answer any questions or something. We've had him talk to us before, and maybe time, if people are getting interested in DMR again, maybe it'd be time to bring him back as a speaker again and show people. He also, Rocky Mountain Ham has, during the fall through spring, will have their Rocky Mountain Ham University. Daron's got it up there on the screen right there. And you can sign up for their classes. They were doing them face-to-face, and they shut down for a while. They may bring them back now. And those are real good. And they usually have one on how to program. And they may have some also some videos of those that you might be able to watch someplace, maybe on YouTube or someplace else. But don't be scared. Get a radio that you want. And first I would look on the rmham.org webpage to see if that's a decent radio, what they think about it. There are some radios they don't allow on their own system. They have a separate system from the Brandmeister. It's a DMARC system. But look and see what they recommend, because whatever they recommend is going to work anywhere. So go there and look at it, and then do some shopping around. They have some notes about the different radios, and are you getting a good bang for the buck, etc. So I highly recommend it. So that's rmham.org, I think.
There's also several YouTube videos, and I put a link in the chat for a website, DMR for Dummies. Believe it or not, somebody has that domain, and it looks like a pretty good site.
I can attest that the Rocky Mountain Ham Anytone code plug does work on the Alinco as well. So I did pull that down, and I've messed around with it with a few of my own stations on there. It's a steep learning curve. I'm just hoping the rest of these manufacturers catch up on Roman. Thank you, folks.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, those code plugs can be a little bit tricky, but luckily with a starting point, it's a little bit easier to understand how it all works. Yeah. All right, this is Daron, K1DBC. This is the Elmer session for the Denver Radio Denver Radio Club W0TX. You don't have to be a ham radio operator. It's not a net. There's no check-ins. If anybody has any questions or anything you'd like to bring up, we got a little bit of time left here.
Well, I've got another question. When we're traveling across country, both in the U.S. and Canada, what's the most widely used UHF VHF system? Bandmeister, Fusion, what? And how do you figure it out? I'm all new to this.
Yeah, absolutely, and I can understand and see how that might be a bit odd. It, I guess, depends state to state. DMR, I mean, it's just like any analog repeater. You're going to have to probably change something when you're traveling. Luckily, with the DMR radios, you have thousands and thousands of talk group or channels that you can program, things like that. So you don't have to reprogram it on the fly, but you kind of have to just do a little bit of planning and understand what along your route, what DMR or what technology is going to be around there for you to get into digitally. These are all open source. As a ham radio, amateur radio community, we've had opportunities to use any sort of technology. Opposite from like our cars, we have HD radio in our cars. That's the only option. And with ham radio, we have multiple options. So it's good and it's bad because there's a lot of things to learn, a lot of options out there. So I'd say Brandmeister is probably a lot more popular, but you'll still probably see some states using some other things.
Hey, Jerome.
Yeah.
Yes, Jerry, WZOGV. If you're traveling, if you haven't, first thing I'd do is download the repeaterbook.com on your smartphone, and it'll list, you can go in and check if you want 2 meter, 440s, 6 meter, whatever, and just repeaterbook.com, really good. You'll find a lot of repeaters that are there that at least we find when we travel that are not working, or they are, and you'll have during work hours, people just aren't around, especially, small towns and stuff. But repeaterbook.com is a kind of a must if you're traveling, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I've driven clear across Kansas trying to contact repeaters and found zero.
Well, we go to Illinois.
Kansas is all that popular a place to travel to, but
we go to Illinois fairly frequently and drive I-70, and you're not the only one. We found pretty much the same thing. Sometimes around Topeka and stuff, I'll catch somebody, and but it's pretty. It's not you. It's just the situation.
Then too, you've got to make sure you've got the most current information, CTC, SS tones, and what have you to access the repeaters.
and repeater book's not always 100% because, well, if it, it knows what it knows, and if they don't get updated, well, then, you got the wrong info, like Jeff said. But it's a good source, probably the best as far as I'm concerned, because it knows where you are. So, and you can set it for the repeaters from, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 miles, 100 miles. And that's what it'll sort out. So it's really good.
And monitoring 5.2 simplex as you travel can be a good thing too. Give a call once in a while.
Yeah, you catch somebody occasionally.
We'll give those a try. I've got a trip coming across Kansas here shortly, so we'll give that a shot.
Good luck. I hope it works for you.
I was beginning to think that the people in Kansas just didn't use ham radio.
Breaker 19.
Yeah. I think they just, people are working and they just nobody on during the daytime.
This is Kelvin. On the repeater book, there's an app for your phones, and it actually, you can download the app on your phones. It gives you all the repeaters based on your location. You can sort it based on your the frequency you want to use and the distance and stuff. So I use the app all the time on my phones. It works pretty well.
Yeah, exactly. It's real user friendly.
Yeah, that definitely makes things a lot easier. All right.
And you mentioned, Larry mentioned K0NGA or Conga as he's known. I think he does all the code plugs except Motorola, and somebody else does the Motorola, but he does all the others, I believe. Anytone, Hyteras, and the lot.
Guys, it's 18:45. I'm going to step away and make a cup of coffee, and I'll be back.
Sounds good.
Okay, Jeff, thanks.
Oh yeah, this is Daron. About 15 minutes, we'll have the club president give a brief talk, and then our presentation will be given. But we have another 10 to 15 minutes or so here. If anyone else has anything else they'd like to bring up, please let us know.
Evening, Tom.
Hey, Fred, I saw you pop up there.
Good evening, Jerry. I was just giving Tom there, HJV, a call there. Howdy, Tom.
Yeah, he's muted. You're muted, Tom. Talking to yourself.
I certainly do miss our club meetings.
Yeah, I think we all do. This works, but it's definitely not as good.
It does have its advantages, people who can't attend the Taj Mahal due to distance can at least get in here and participate. It'd be interesting once things all get back to normal, if there is such a thing, if kind of incorporate somehow some of this technology. But this is working good. At least it doesn't leave us totally out in the cold.
Yes, sir. That's true.
I guess just briefly on that, I've just been recording some of our nets and putting them online as well, and streaming them, and just putting up my point of view. So if you miss any learning nets or anything like that, you want to see kind of what net control looks like, or just go back through the nets, you can view WERE GR8 on YouTube, and some information there.
Why would we want to know what the net control looks like?
Well, yeah, maybe not my face necessarily, you know, but no. I was going to. I bought this soldering kit, this QRP CW kit, a couple of weeks ago, and I populated it and put it together here, and I've tested all of the resistors and everything, and basically I came to the conclusion that I soldered the BNC connector incorrectly. These two pins need to be onto these two holes here, and I've been using solder wick and solder pump, and there's very little solder on there now. This is a picture from a while back, but I still cannot get it out. So I think I'm gonna have to do what I can to maybe put it into some vice grips and heat up all the 4 pins and just use some force to try to get it out. But if you have any interest in soldering basic electronics, I mean, this is a really cool little kit here, the Pixie Kit, QRP Pixie Kit, and I followed a. It's not necessary.
Hey, Jerome.
Yeah, go ahead.
Jerome. Yeah, that sounds like vice grips. I'd be afraid to use vice grips. By any chance, have you got a sharp object there to where you heat it up and push that the leads of that component out rather than pull?
So instead of heating up the bottom side of it, heat up the top side? Sorry?
No. Heat up the bottom side, and then with a sharp object, push the lead out of the hole.
Okay, yeah. I was basically doing that. As you can see here, there's kind of a hole in the back of the BNC connector, and as I was heating up the bottom, I was using my finger just to pry up this connector, and those 2 pins just were not budging for some reason. I don't know. I need to try again, though, because it's just a simple little part.
Yeah.
Ron, do you have a desoldering iron with a suction bulb on it?
I don't have a desoldering iron. I just have a regular soldering iron and a desolder pump. And desolder
Yeah, they're cheap. I'd recommend that, and also the desoldering braid works good.
Okay. Yeah, I'll need to try that.
And then by the time you're done, you might want to order a new ENC connector because it'll melt.
Yeah. Yeah, I can already see some charring on it a little bit on the inside. Not here, though, but yeah. Let's see. So yeah, this is a basic kit here. It was just kind of just high level order of soldering was resistance diodes, capacitors. This is a slightly modified kit from what I have, so kind of a little bit smallest to largest a little bit, and a lot of fun. So if you have any interest, this is about $10, and just a lot of fun. So that's at pixiekits.com. All right, anyone have anything else they'd like to bring up? Last few minutes here. I'm sure I have something here. Whether you like them or not, CenturyLink rebranded just in the last few days here to Lumen Technologies. They're to 3 different companies. They're basically residential copper, residential fiber will be Quantum Fiber, residential copper will be CenturyLink, and then business fiber will be Lumen Technologies. So a lot of interesting things. I have residential CenturyLink fiber, and it works amazing. It's gigabit both ways, and I don't know. There's a lot of things in the ISP industry. So if anybody has any interest in that.
It's going to be referred to as Bloomin' Lumen.
Yeah. Somebody kind of just compiled together just a how-to of how to use a Raspberry Pi and software-defined radio to do quite a multitude of things. They have all the different modes, GS8, FT8, just a bunch of digital modes basically, and just a really easy way to get into monitoring digital modes if you ever wanted to. Pretty good step-by-step here.
Yeah, QST's got a pretty good full-page ad here on the Yaesu FT3DR. Boy, that's a sweet little radio.
Yeah, we were discussing, you said the 3DR, right?
Affirmative. Yeah, FT3DR.
Yep.
It's nice looking little radio. Just as you open up the cover page here of the October issue.
If you're not a member of ARL, this is a digital edition of it. A little clunky at times. But here's the ad that was mentioned here. All right. Last few minutes here before we have to wrap things up. Anyone else? We have something similar to this on Wednesday nights, every other Wednesday except for this Wednesday. More info on that on the W0TX website, Denver Radio Club Learning Net. Unfortunately, we don't have the updated link here to our... We have a groups.io /G/ham learning net. We try to post things on there about past nets that we did, different check-ins and different traffic, things like that. Talking about the FCC fees and satellite work we were talking about there. We were doing talking about 3D printing. Pretty cool stuff there. And that is on our main.
Can you bring that webpage back up?
Yeah, of course. Groups.io /G. I'll put it in the. It's in the Google Hangout, Google Meet chat as well too. Article here by, I wish they would have found the original article, but apparently NASA is stating that solar cycle 25 has begun. This is not the official article though, so grain of salt with this.
It's official.
Yeah.
I listened to the broadcast yesterday that they had, and they didn't tell us much more than we don't already know. But they finally decided to confirm that it's official.
All right. Well, there we go. Yeah,
I just put a link into NASA's announcement.
Yeah, I see that. Thank you. Yeah, great article here. Just last couple minutes here. Bring up the few people here. Nice to see everyone here. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for chatting. Again, hold on for a second here. More info on our club, w0tx.org, for all info on the Denver Radio Club. Again, as briefly mentioned, youtube.com, unofficially at the moment, /WERE GR8. You can find more info on past learning nets as well as presentations that were recorded. If you have any info and want for that, you can go and look at that. Okay, with that, I think I will wrap things up here. I need to get back to work and finish up my night here. But I hope everyone enjoyed the session. Again, Wednesday nights, 7:30 for an Elmer session for something similar to this. And then every third Wednesday of the month, we have something just before the meeting at from 6 to 6:45, and then our regular meeting at 9 p.m. So with that, I'll go ahead and drop. I appreciate everyone being here. Thank you.
Okay, Jerome. Well, thanks for doing all that. We got about 2 minutes. So if anybody wants to take a quick break before we start at 7, well, please do so.
And your audio was loud and clear.
Okay, I was going to ask that. Nobody said anything, so thank you.